Anyhow, YouTube is good, Twitch is good. I've got one person on both. We're going to pick up with the swimsuit. And I opened it up just to render a picture, but I haven't done anything else to it, so let's see where we left off. And actually today I think we're going to do a little bit of modeling. We're doing the action cam. Or it's more like an Insta360. It's going to be a really small camera that will snap to her uh, top strap. And we started a little bit on Saturday just so I could pop into Blender and take a look at a few things. Because our friend Napsmore, I think, had some questions on setting up grids, UV grids. Anyhow, let's put that so I can see chat. I'm going to put that over there. I'm going to try to remember where I was. I think I just need to open up a file and go from there. Was working on this spring dress. I'm going to call it Meadow Muse dress earlier today. It's in really good shape. I have to do the materials. Yo! In the kitchen for about 10 minutes. All right. And there's Art over on the YouTubes. Hey, Art, how you doing? I got to set up commands. I got to really pay attention to YouTube. Just for art. For art's sake. So let me try to remember. And I have to set it up so people can see Twitch and Twitch can see YouTube and vice versa. I've still got to do that. I've been too lazy. So in the meantime, you two can't talk to each other. Charles, you can't talk to Art. Don't talk to Art. He's not really there. Hey, Matthias, how are you doing? Look at that. I got 2 people on YouTube at once. Whoa. And it's the beginning of stream, too. You timed that a lot better, Matthias. What am I doing? I'm opening up. I think this is where I left off. One of these Aquo. We're calling it the Aquo Swim. So this is where we left off Saturday. So the plan with this one is to do most of this on stream. There's a few things I'm going to do, but most of the stuff to make this a Daz product I'm going to do on stream. All right, so right now we are going to go play. We're going to add a little camera to her, so we're going to probably be mostly in Blender today. Part of that is because Emerga likes Blender. So if Emerga pops in. I've taken a look at a few cameras. I kind of have an idea what I'm doing with this thing. Fine, you've seen up to 5 or 6 per... Really? Cool. They're a quiet lot. Okay, so this is where we left off. I'm making the camera, so we're going to open up Blender and work on the camera. And ideally, that's probably most of what we're going to do is the camera stuff. And let me pop over to. We have a folder set up for this. We're working out of Sporty Swim. Although I didn't actually end up naming this Akvo, which is Esperanto for water. I'm clever that way. Do I have any material set up? I do not have material set up. We will set up materials later. But Blender, that's right, Blender. I've already said that 8 times, right? Hello, Blender. Let's pick up where we left off. You are just left over from something else I was doing earlier. File, recent. We are looking for Akvo camera blend, and I'm not saving anything there. And that's kind of what we have right now. It's going to be a camera that's about so big. That's actually, I have an Insta360 that is a little bit larger than that. So things I want to do, you know what? That's supposed to be a port for a USB. I'm going to move that down into here. We're going to put one of those screw hole attachments over here. So the idea is it will have a standard camera mount, and then you can put that on a camera mount. Or in this case, I'm building a custom clip for it, and that's probably right where we are right now. So this part right here, that's the USB port. I'm going to just stick that over on this side. I'm going to put that on the bottom. So, and it's got a little cover, so we've got it covered. Because it's a waterproof camera that you can go down to, 30,000 feet. Of course you can't. No. I know. What do they rate those things for? Like 10 meters, something like that. I'm going to rotate you RY 90, and you just went the wrong way, so we'll do RY 180. And I'm just going to put that down here. And you know what? I think that's too small. So I'm going to want to maybe make that a little wider like that. That's probably going to be good. I think I'm going to put some creases on those edges, because we've got a little subdivision on here, but you can see I don't really want that subdivided so much. So we'll just crease those up so it stays nice and sharp. I'm just going to nudge that up so it's in there just a little bit. I want to add a couple of little divots here for whatever these buttons do. Also, I'm going to add a little light there that it'll come on and off. And then we're just going to put a hole right here. And actually, we can get a measurement for that. Standard camera screw mount. And you go with a standard because then you can just stick it on any tripod or selfie stick or any other standard attachments for cameras. Standard camera screw size. And it's 1/4 inch by 20 thread count. Larger cameras might use a 3/8 of an inch. So we're going to do 1/4 inch in metric. Comes out to, I want to say like about a little more than 6 millimeters. So I'm just going to step out of this for a second, and we're going to make a little 6 millimeter guide. So I'm just going to grab we're going to use a cylinder for our guide, and I'm going to set that to be my radius 0.003, and I'll make that a little bit shorter. 0.1, and I think I might have to make this camera a little bit larger to accommodate that. Is that right? No, that's going to be about right. And we'll just put that right there. USB there. Add a little light here. A little bit more detail here. Then I'm going to put the clip on. Yeah, that'll be fine. RY 90. So that gives me the guide of where I want to put this screw attachment. Also, this is too large. I should have, we're going to redo this. I've got too much detail in it. I want to take a little more detail out of that, because I'm going to use that as the little screw knob. Shift A. Cylinder, we're going to set that to 16. Alright, now I'm going to set that there. We'll reuse this, but right now I want to use it as a guide for putting a hole in right there. I'm going to manually cut this hole out. We're just going to grab these, kind of do this thing. I'm going to tweak that up a little bit. Then we're going to use a loop tool to round this out. We might add a little bit more detail in here. So I'm just going to GG and slide that. And then I'm just going to GG and slide that. I can't see what I'm doing. Probably good. I think we want to slide these out just a little bit. Can I do these all together? Actually, I can just position that like that, because that's not on a curve in the y-axis. Alright, that's good. Then I can use the loop tools to make a circle out of that. That's the plan. Loop tools. You know, actually, before I do that, I'm going to run a little line right through the middle there. I want just a little bit more geometry on that. Right now, I'm going to select there to there. Come over here to loop tools. We'll say circle. And then I'm going to just scale that down. Kind of like that. And then we're just going to do a little extrude, and I'm just going to pull that in. Okay, we're getting a little bit of weirdness from the stuff. Let's hide our cylinder for just a second while we clean this up. And that's just basically where our attachments will screw into. Nope. Did I get the right one? I can't tell. That looks better. I think I did get it. That looks like it's... let's go to X-ray. I'm going to make sure that this is creased. I think it is. There it is. It's totally creased now. So that's going to be the where things screw into. I think I might rig this, and this might be a separate part, so you could actually hide the other stuff, although I'm not actually going to put screws in here. And I think maybe we'll just make that a little bit smaller still. Nope, I missed. I want that one right there. So I want to make that a little smaller, but not on the X. I think that'll be good. I want to grab these. I actually just want to make that a little deeper. Probably good. Okay, I'm going to do a little detail cutouts in here, I think. And then I'm going to add a little here, and then we're going to build the attachments. Let's see how this works. Or maybe not. Maybe I'll just get lazy and go like this. I think I'm going with too much detail, considering that this is just a little add-on to a swimsuit. I'm only making it just so I can show how to do a rigid attachment. So I think that's going to be good. I'm going to add a little clip bracket to this. So, and then I'm going to start with, this is going to be a little knob that screws on and holds the bracket onto the camera. So I'll start with that. And I'm going to actually, yeah, you're not going to be able to see that. Let's bring you down here. And then I'm just going to, I'm thinking. Okay, so our little clip's going to be right in there. So I'm going to do this, make that a little bit larger, do that, pull it along, do that again. I'm going to try to put a little diamond pattern, I think, with substance on the edge of this. Then we'll just do that. So that's going to be a little knob that goes on there. Does that maybe make that a little bit smaller? We'll see how it looks. Yeah, I think I'm going to make that a little bit smaller, but not in the X. Kind of like that. All right, let's get rid of that face in there. Yo, Rod, how are you doing today? There it is. Art's our guest mod today. Charles is still in the kitchen. I'm going to act like I'm a professional, and I'm going to grid fill that. Daz doesn't really care. But it'll make me look cooler with the rest of the modelers. So, and that's really important. It's not what you do, it's how you look doing it. Grid fill. It should be here in faces. Am I in faces? I am in faces. Is there something in here that says grid fill? There is. I like that line to be straight up and down, so we're just going to twist that a little. That is good. You know, while I'm here, I think I'll just go ahead and set some. So that's probably good for this knob. I'm going to do a couple of things. We're going to mark seams, and we're also going to increase our sharpness on these. So I'm just going to try to grab all of these at once. And I'm just going to mark a seam here. I can't resist. I will probably add a little more detail in there. Or I might just bevel. I think I might just bevel. Actually, I might switch this back and then grid fill it later. And then I'm going to mark. Did I already mark seam? And then we'll put a crease on there. And then this later on, I can just let me just add a little sub D on here, maybe. Probably. And then you know what I think? I am going to get rid of this and redo it real quick. I want to add a little more detail on this knob. Dough. This is why everything takes forever. I'm just going to fill this back in. Like that. And then I just want to do a little inset. Maybe pull you back a little. Maybe do this. Do that. Do this again. And pull it out a little. You know what? I'm going to pull it out this far. We're going to put a little bevel on. There, just like that. I'm going to flatten it out a little. Slide that back in. I think that'll be good. All right, now we're going to put a little grid fill on the end of this, so we can still look cool. I got way too many seams, and so we're going to clean that up. And I'm probably going to put a separate material here. Maybe I'll put a separate material zone in here. Still hate Mondays. Tell me why. Face grid fill. We'll tweak that just a little bit so it looks a little neater. That just went the wrong way. Like that. I like that. That looks like I meant to do that. I'm going to expand this out a little bit. I don't want these to be seams. I do want some of them to be creases. So I'm going to just... No, I want to leave this creases, but we're going to take the seams off. Clear seam. What in the world? It's a camera, Rod. It's a camera. It's a really small... It's like those action cameras that you can pick up these days. So it's part of the sporty swimsuit. So the idea is she'll clip the camera onto her strap here. And she's good for action sports. Or she's a secret agent and it goes boom. That's it. She's a secret agent. She has this camera and it goes boom if she really needs to. And her pen converts into a swimming car. I'm not modeling the pen that converts into a swimming car, though. Let's set up some materials while I'm here. Knob. Let's set up another one. Knob screw. And knob shaft and knob knob grid. Knob grid. We're going to get to that. Knob screw. Knob screw. Maybe I'll put an underscore in there instead of that. Yes, you know that. You're the king of the secret agents with surprises, right, Rod? Um, 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 um. And then I want one more. Shaft. That's right. I'm saying knob and shaft in the same sentence. And somehow that, you think that'll get me banned? If anything does, that'll be it. Okay, I'm going to put that grid right there. Just kind of like that. All right, let's assign some stuff out here. That I want to be the grid. This, I'm going to clean that up just a little bit. So I've got a little too much creasing there. Dang it. Let's turn the x-rays now getting in the way. From here to here. Did that do what I wanted? Yep. All right, let's uncrease those. That's going to be the knob screw. And then back down here, I'm going to put knob shaft all the way out to there. Assign that. All right, now I'm just going to put a bevel on these edges right here and call the knob done and move along. 3 hours later, I've made a knob. All right. That's basically a little chamfer. Okay, that is fine. I'm going to cheat and just say shade smooth. All right, let's build the rest of this bracket. He's Tom Bosley. Dang, dude. It's too late. Art just ratted you out, Tom. I'm going to Shift D that and separate it. And that's going to be the beginning of my thing, I think. You know what? We're going to call you Knob. Hey, look at that. I'm naming stuff. How organized. What the hell? Who am I? That's camera. I need to assign materials to the camera at some point. Oh, I already have something called camera. Well, what are you? Oh, that's actually a camera. That's the real camera in the scene. Oh, that's the wrong mug. That's right. We've got milk in the Charles and the Sarah mug today. All right. Let's see how I want to do this. I do need X-ray because I can't see what I'm doing here. All right, we're going to pull that back over here to start with. I'm just going to extrude along normals just to pull that out a little bit. Then I'm just going to take all of this, bring it out here and flatten it. I think is what we're going to do. Come from here to here. Does that work? That did work. Pull you guys out like so. And then flatten it. And that's going to be the back. I'm going to put a hinge on there. Now I want that to be a little bit thinner, maybe just a little bit thinner. And that they have updated in Blender the face orientation. So it's really cool. Back in the old days when you wanted to see face orientation, it did that blue and red thing. Now, and you can still do that, but now it will show, if you're just the back sides are only red now. So it's a lot more useful. So you can basically work with it all the time. And you can see it if we come over here, get inside, you can see, now we can see this is the back side of a face, and then just whatever the normal shading is, the normal side. That is so much cooler than what we had before. Okay, I'm going to tweak this just a little bit. That's a little... Can I space these out? I'm going to space these out. We're going to use a loop tool thing for that. and I just did that wrong. I want to come from here to here. G stretch, that's what I'm thinking. I'm going to use G stretch just to evenly space those out a little bit better, and we're going to do it the same thing on the other side. This helps alleviate those really narrow, long pieces a little bit, I hope. I'm G stretching. I knew that. There we go. You know what? I'm going to put a crease there and a crease there. So my bracket kind of looks like that. I also just might pull this over a little bit and then extrude it back out some more. So those aren't too overly elongated, and then just pull this out maybe like that. Of course, now I want to crease these. And actually I want to uncrease that. Did that not go all the way around? That did not go all the way around. Dangity dang it. So I am going to uncrease that. I went the wrong way. I do want to crease these. You know what's worse than jet lag? Driving lag. You're still from yesterday, right? Adventures on the Turnpike. How are you looking? You're looking okay. I think that'll be fine. All right, let's put a... Let me figure out how I want to make these clips. We're going to go a little bit of shopping. Go to Amazon. Hello, sign in. Oh, good, I'm not signed in. Clip camera. I have an idea what I want to do, but I kind of want to take a look at how maybe something like this. Although I'm not going to... Is that what I really want? It gives me an idea of what I want. I want this to put on a hinge, so I'm just going to cheat in a hinge in here. I think then we're going to run a flat face back here. I'm going to then put a clip on here, and maybe we do something a little bit like this. So I'm going to pull a piece out here. Do I want to put ridges in there? You know, that's the sort of detail that's probably going a little overboard, so I don't think so. So we're going to take this and bring it off the hinge. So I've got to add a little thing here, and then we're going to put this here on top, and I'm just going to make that maybe a flat piece. Although I do kind of like these little curves on the side, so I think we're going to do that. So I'm just going to put a hinge here, run a piece over here. That way we can tilt the camera on the clip. And we can tilt it also in this direction because we're just screwing it in at a tilt there. Which means I actually want to pull these out further now that I think about it. Actually, let's get the hinge in here. I'm going to just steal that. We're just going to start with this shape, right? If I can just grab it, that Shift D, R, Y, 9D. See, now it's inside out. See, there's where that normal comes into play. I'm just going to do that. Then we're just going to do that. That's just going to kind of be a fake hinge. I think that's going to do well. Let's flip our normals before I forget. Hum-diddy, 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 hum. Something like this. Mesh, normals, flip. There we go. Let's close off the tops and just add a little simple cappy thing. I'm going to do both of these at once, I think. Let's see how this goes. Fill. Do a little bit of that. Oops. I'm going to do that. Scale Z. Just bring that in just a little bit. And we're going to kind of do this. And then I'm just going to kind of do that. And scale and Z. There we go. And then we're just going to grid fill these. Because we're professional that way. See how cool I am? I'm grid filling. All right. Let's look at you from the bottom. Let's get this one. Hopefully I got the right one. Yep. All right, let's grid fill that sucker. Then we're going to just mark some seams on this real quick. I was grid filling, wasn't I? There we go. I'm too close. Let's fix that. Let's go to view and let's change our clipping start to be smaller. There we go. And you know me, I like to have that straight. So we're going to straighten that up just a bit. Is good. I can never remember what color is what. One of these is sharp and one of these is seams. If I clear seams, and then I still have the sharps. Okay. So what I want is, I don't want those to be seams. And the same thing up here. So I need to figure out how to change the color of the sharps from the seams, because that's definitely getting in the way. So do I want to add a little hinge details in here? I think I will. I'm just going to put a little cut in there, a little bit like that. I'm going to pull you guys around, kind of like so. A little bevel. Control F along normals, so I'm just going to put that in like that. Get that. I'm just going to crease these up a little bit here, 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 and here. Crease those. Where did my crease go? Is it over here in item? There it is. And we'll just do the same thing down here. So there, nope, missed. There, 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 and there. Oops, wrong mug. I'll put you over there so I stop getting confused. All right, let's do I have a convenient, you know what, I'm just going to grab a face and go from there. Chris, would you like to see what you got for your computer? Ooh. Is it stream safe? Micro Center product, Intel Core. What is that? Is that a new processor? And more RAM? Oh, no, it's more RAM. Nice. It's one of the newest in process. The one that you have now is, and it's also a new motherboard. Oh, okay. Dang. You can get a processor, motherboard, and RAM all for $500. Now you just have to be able to put it together. Nice. And what was I doing? I'm making a clip. That's right. Um, let's see how this works. I'm still okay. Scale X0. Any place that sells like that has bundles. Oh, nice. I have to say, I've gotten used to 64 gigs of RAM though. And extrude that, and I went the wrong way, so maybe we extrude that way. That works. You bought extra RAM to go with it. That wasn't in the bundle, so ooh, yeah, that's a good number. I'm gonna put you in here. I'm gonna look at you from the back. I like that. I'm gonna just maybe. I'm gonna crease all of this. What the hell? I'll do some uncreasing later. I'm gonna bring you around this way. And this will give me the extra geometry I need. The only thing not enjoyable about is computer fixing to update is your render computer, so you have to completely redo. No! Oh, the horror. Yeah, I'm going to bring you all the way. So this is going to be my clip. I'm going to start with that. I need a couple of little grooves in here. Okay, I gotta do a little bit of creasing along here. You know, I can probably crease those. Missed. All right, I want to crease this edge through here and here and here and here. Probably going to be good. Okay, I got some tweaking to do over here. That, and this. We set to no crease. These are just going to be creased to 100, like this. I'm going to slide those back a little bit for a little extra. I think this edge and this edge to give it a little bit of shape. All right, I'm going to add some extra cuts in here. We're going to pull some of this out, and then we can put the other clip on top of that. So I think my clip's going to start somewhere about in there. I'll straighten that out. It's going to come to maybe about in here. Straighten that out. And then I'm just going to add one in here to just kind of hold that shape in place a little bit. I'm going to straighten that out because it just looks a little neater. How are we looking? So that's going to be the base. I think I'm just going to duplicate this for the top clip. And maybe give it the top clip a little bit of shape. So I got that in a good spot. Let's pull these out. I accidentally added another loop in there. And you know what? I think I'm going to move these in a little bit like that. Probably be fine. Then I'm going to do this and this. And while I'm here, we'll just do that real quick. Probably good. Then we can do an extrude. Pull those out. Take those down. We'll crease these up. And then I'm going to round out those corners a little bit. And then maybe we can put little circles in the inside. Yep. I think that's going to kind of work. I think I'll slide these edges back a little. Probably fine. I think we'll just manually cut holes in here. We'll kind of do the same thing we did. I'm going to add some extra cuts here, and we'll put another loop cut through here. Then we can add the holes like we did with the G loops. There we go. That looks better. I should auto shade that one as well. The whole thing is auto shaded. That's right. It's all one part. Although you know what, I should. So as far as parts go, this should be separate from this and the knob. That should be separate, and then the last clip should be separate, so I could actually rig them up. All right. So I want to put a loop cut there, there, and there. And then we're just going to do, I'm going to turn the X-ray off. We're going to just do this thing. So I'm just going to, and actually let's do that for, I think I do all of these 4 faces all at once with an inset. And that way when we circle them up, they'll all be about equal. So I'm going to just do that. I don't think I can loop cut these, can I? Can I just do, or is this going to confuse? Yeah, totally confused it. Let's try. I might have to try something. Oh, those are so big. You know what I think that means? Do I have everything selected? I do. I'm going to try to bring them in. Maybe like that. And then see if I can circle that up. Yeah, that's the trick. And actually, I think that was working if I get them all at once. It's just it was so big. So we can G-loop, circle those. Yay. I don't really need the circles on the inside. I don't know. I was thinking maybe I would add a bar in here. And maybe I still will. Let's go ahead and just stick a little bar in there. There we go. I don't need ends on those. I don't even really need the circles on those. I just need the stupid little bar. Oh well, I've got the circles there now. I'm not doing anything with them. I do want to just pull these out, maybe just a hair. Actually, I don't even need those. I'm going to need these for later because I'm going to steal this. I'm just going to Shift D this. We're going to get rid of this other stuff. I'm going to flatten out the back and make the other part of the clip with it. Tab A. We're just going to move this stuff over here for a second. And we don't need you. And we don't need you. So we're just going to select all of that. Delete it. I'm going to flatten that out. And I'm just going to fill in that gap there. There we go. And these. See, now I can use these. I'm going to just slide this stuff. Oot and boot. Let's grab all of this. I don't need that anymore. And I'm going to grab all of this. And then I'm just going to slide those towards the edge. And then let's see, how much of this can I do? Does that work? I missed a couple. There we go. And then actually I'm going to turn X-ray on for a second here so I can see what I'm doing. So I think I want this to be, I'm trying to see where these lines are. Yeah, I can't. I think I want them in here, just past that a little bit to line up with the other one. And I don't need you. Nope. Rotate X 180. There we go. And that's just going to snap onto there. And I'm going to add a little bit of shape to that. And I think I'll curve this a bit more so it moves a little more naturally. Let's pull these out just a little bit. And I'll do it on the other side as well. Just like that. Looking good. Okay, I do want, you know what, this is all, nope. What am I doing? GY. There we go. I want to tweak these edges. Get a little bit better curve in there. Missed. I don't have extra on, that's why I can't click through. There we go. There is that one. Let me see if I can get that one. Yay. And maybe just pull you a bit more this way. That'll probably be fine. All right, let's give this a little bit more curve shape, and then I'm going to adjust the angle a touch. And I'm going to call that a clip. And then set up, oh yeah, and I just want to add this little light here. Tab. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to move all of this over here, slide you, and then curve you out a little bit. Like that. Bring you over. Like so. Can I just grab all of that together? That seems to work. Maybe I'll just rotate you on this spot right here. Let's do that. Let's put a 3D cursor right there. What have I got? Oh, I got a swimsuit in the way. Let me get that swimsuit out of the way. You're almost in the right spot. I want that 3D cursor right there. I'm going to rotate on the 3D cursor. Actually, I should add a little bit more geometry in here before I do that. All right, there we go. And I'm going to rotate on. Do I want to rotate on that, or do I want to rotate? Yeah, I'm going to rotate on that. Let's see how this goes. So we are rotating on the 3D cursor. Hit that R. Just going to pull that out that way. Maybe that's a little too far. I think I'm going to just do that. Now I think I'm going to slide these out and then give it a bit more curve. Oops, I've still got that 3D cursor thing going. Let's get you back to median point. Damn it. I keep forgetting to just switch over to what I really need. Activate edge. I should have straightened that up before I turned it. We're going to go back a little ways to right there, because this edge is a little janky. We're going to just fix that real quick. All right, now we'll go back to RZ on the oops. Doi. 3D cursor, RZ, pull that out just a little bit, yay. Right now I'm just going to slide that a little that way. Slide that a little that way. I'm going to add a little bit of curve right in here, adding a bevel, kind of like that. And then I'm just going to rotate the whole thing, and we'll set it. Okay. Where's my, there we go. Now I want to move that 3D cursor. I want to set that up right about here. And I'm going to just rotate this down. Kind of like that. All right, that's going to be my clip. I think we're good. So let's call you Clip 02. You maybe try that with cap lock off. I think that one is going to be Clip 01. I got my camera. I got my nub. This is just about done. So do I want to do a... We want to texture this up. So I am going to rig it so that'll open up. And I need to put about a 1.5 millimeter gap in here so it'll look like it'll fit on the straps. I still need to just add one more thing on the camera. I want to put a little light there that we can make an emissive and will turn red or off. Just so we have the option of turning the camera on and off. Oh, also I want to put something behind the lens. I think I've got something behind the lens already. So we need to just start assigning materials to this. Buttons and caps, camera, lens mount, lens, and then light mount and light, I think is what we're going to put here. You guys, you're just going to be clips, ain't you? We're just going to make you clips. Let's do that. Let's say this. Let's say clip. And let's get rid of these other ones. There we go. You I'm just going to turn you into a clip, and then we'll just get rid of these others. Good. Knob is still good. Camera does not have any material, so let's start getting those in there. Camera. I'm going to say buttons for the next thing. There we go. Camera buttons. Lens mount. Camera lens. There's too many E's in lens. Mount. Camera lens. Camera light. Indicator light. And then camera indicator light emitter. Emitter. Is that right? Chris can't spell. 2 T's. There we go, 2 T's. Okay. Tab in. Control L, all of that. That is the lens mount. And I'm going to give these colors so I can kind of see what we're doing. Oh, I'm still got that stupid cursor thing going. All right, that's going to be buttons. I guess I didn't assign you. I think that'll be fine. You know what? Let's steal those. Was it Shift D? Yep. So I'm going to make the light thing out of that. Indicator light. Did I not assign lens? I guess I didn't assign lens. I thought I had assigned lens. Obviously, I changed it to... There we go. All right, let's tweak this a little bit. So actually, the emitter is going to be this little spot in here. And then I'm just going to make that really small and give it a little bit more shape. Right there. Sign. You know, that subdivision's acting a little funky there, isn't it? Why? Do I have anything creasing going on? Is it that just the grid feels weird that way? I think the grid feels just weird that way. That looks better. Okay. We're still working off the 3D cursor. Let's put you back to median. Also, let's get that back to, so, dang it. So you're going to be really small like that. I'm actually going to put a crease on that. That might have changed the, we'll put a little crease on that. We're just going to slide you back. I'm just going to scale you to like that. Put a little crease on you. You know what? We're just going to crease these and scale them. And maybe pull you back like that. That light is way too... How did I get off center? Obviously some of that scaling went amiss. That's a little better. I still have to make this smaller. So that's probably in the right spot. Pull you out. And then these all come out. And the emitter's down in there. And I'm just going to stick that right underneath the lens there. Okay, let's turn the X-ray off so I can see when I clip in. Right there. Alright, so that's good. Let's start setting up some UV mapping. I don't think I need any... Do I have anything on the back of that? You know what? I'm going to put a seam right there. And you know what? I think we'll split the lens off. Is good. Do I want to split that emitter off? I don't have to, but we'll put a seam there anyhow. Okay. I don't think I've got any seams on this camera body, so you know what? We'll put a seam there and there. And here, I'm gonna hide. Where's the thing? I'm gonna hide the creases because I keep mistaking creases for seams. So I'm gonna just put a couple of seams here, and I think we'll mark a seam. Do I get a split right down the middle? I think I'm gonna just put a split right in the middle here. And I'm just going to mark a seam right there. And I think that's all the seams. Oh, no, wait, I got this stuff cut out over here. Let's fix that. So I'm going to hide the clips. Right in here, we're just going to put some seams in here and here. And mark those. And I just need a seam right there. And that didn't go all the way around. So let's make sure, oh, that's because I put that hole in there. So I think we're probably good. So let's go start playing with our UV mapping. Hello, UV editor. Yeah, I was showing 2 UDEMs last time. That's the reason why it looks like that. Not that I'm using 2, but that was just what we were working on. Okay, 3AU unwrap conformal. Something is amiss. Here, let's apply all transforms and try that again. Nope. What are you? I'm going to figure out what this is. Why do I got this giant box in here? That's what I thought you were. Why are you not scaled to everything else? You probably need better UV mapping. You don't have UV mapping. There we go. We're going to fix that. I'm going to get rid of you. And let's put creases on these edges. And now that I switch to another scene, I see my my creases instead of my seams. So let's hide hide my creases again, if I can remember where those were. There it is. I'm just going to put seams on these. Okay, now let's try this 3AU unwrap. There we go, that's better. You know what? If I put a seam here, that'll be a tighter wrap. So right up here, instead of this being one long strip, I think we will put a seam just right in here. Boom, boom, mark seam. Yeah, that's giving me a much better look. Okay, we are going to do this with the clips now. Okay, one down. And this, I kind of want to UV, instead of just smart mapping it, I just want to use it a little bit better, because if I ever actually want to add text or something to the camera, I can do that easily enough. All right, what are we doing? We're looking at the other stuff. Let's take a look at clip 1. Let's tab into here. I got to set this up for UVs. I don't see any of my seams, so you're just going to put a seam through here. Do the same thing here. All right, those are good. I'm just going to add a little seam on this little thing right here. Maybe right about there. Okay. This is almost good, except it could probably use a little seam. And I gotta do the clipping in here too. So each one is set up differently. So if I change the clipping distance on one, I still have to come back and do it on this scene here, the UV tab. Okay, mark a seam there, should be good. This seems to have a seam over here. We're just gonna hide that for a second. Okay, I don't need a seam here. But I do want seams here. I think I do want a seam there, and seam there. I could probably stand to have a seam on this interior, hopefully. And I'm going to put a seam right there. And you know what? I'm just going to put seams. I'm going to just run a seam, break that back edge off. I can't see the whole thing. I think I'm still connected in the back, but I think that's going to be okay. And I think that's good. And I think maybe we put a little split here and here. Let's see how this is looking. I think I'm pretty close. Let's see if we've got any goofiness going on. Nah, that looks fine. All right, I think I already did the knob, didn't I? Let's tab out. Let's check the knob. Well, I missed something there, didn't I? Let's see what needs to be fixed. Chris, you're gonna have to get it up here in a minute and go everywhere ready for dinner. Hey, thanks for popping in. I think I've got seams marked here. I don't need those. And I do want a seam marked here. So I'm going to clear these. I want to mark seams here. And I am not sure what you are, so let's pop over to this and take a look at where are you. Oh, you are... Oh, you don't have a split, so I need to put a split on these. I think that's my problem. I think if I mark seams there, and I probably need to mark a seam there. That's right, exclamation point dinner. 3AU, unwrap. That looks happy. All right, I think we have just clip 2 left to do. And then I think we can pop over. So clip 2 is a lot like clip 1. I'm just going to clear seams just to make sure I don't have nothing funky going on. I am in the wrong tool. Let's try, there we go. So we're just going to clear all of our seams. And we're just going to quickly, want a seam there, and a seam there, and a seam there, and a seam there, and a seam there. There, and there. And I'm going to mark that, and that. And we'll just mark these in the back. And we'll just mark seams for those. And then we'll break this apart. You know what? I'm going to put there. And there. And then that. And I got a couple in the front I still have to get. There we go. There they are. I think we're good. That's looking fine. Yo, Statler and Waldrop. Howdy. I'm making a sports camera. We're going to clip this onto a swimsuit. The astral system. The astral system. I think that's what that says. Hi. Thanks for popping in. Okay, I think my UV mapping's done. Well, it's not done. We got to put it on the one map. Because that's what we do. Let's do this. So this is what my camera is looking like. I'm upside down. It's one of those small sports cameras. I have it on a clip, and it's going to clip onto a strap on this sporty swimsuit. So that's what we're up to. So this is all part of a project to make this swimsuit from beginning to end, mostly as a Daz product. We've been doing this since Thursday. I think my camera's good. I want to pop in here. I'm going to move all of this off to the side. We're almost done UV mapping. Then we're going to pop out. You followed a while ago, probably months. Hey, nice to see you again. And then we're going to just grab, I think I'm just going to grab all of this. Hit Control J, maybe not. Let's tab in. All right. we're going to do a little bit of tweaking on the UV mapping. I'm going to take, here's UV Pack Master. This is a paid add-on, but it is really cool. So I'm going to do this. So that has adjusted the textile density of this stuff to this stuff. Now we're just going to grab everything. I'm just going to say pack, and it's going to tightly pack everything into one nice neat map. There we go. We're going to do our 2 saves for Substance Painter, and we'll take a copy into the Daz. Let's do a couple of little things. I think I'm centered in the universe. Although I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my center point. Do I want my center point right there? Where do I want the center point for this camera? That's the question. It's kind of small, so it's not a huge deal, but I think I am going to maybe put it right there. So we're just going to move the camera forward so the center of the universe sits right about there. So G, Y, and I'm going to zoom in. And I'm just going to set this up right on the back edge of the camera, and that's going to be the center of the camera. I think that'll be good. All right, let's do some exporting. Actually, let's assign some colors before I do that. Chris needs more colors assigned, just because we want to be able to tell the difference between things. Did you not get assigned to anything? Oh, no, they're a knob screw. Okay, that was something. And then give it the shaft. All right, and then this other stuff I think should all just be clip. Okay, I'm going to export this out like this. I think I'm going to make another copy and I'm going to pull it apart a little bit for Substance Painter. We'll do that. So let's export. I am in Sports Swim. Okvo is what we're calling this. The Okvo camera. There we go. Okvo camera. I'm good to go. Let's do that. So we're only exporting the selected. All right. I'm going to put this into a group. And then we're going to copy, make a duplicate of this. Hide that for a second. And what I just want to pull these parts away from each other, just for substance painting, because it'll keep the ambient occlusion from self-shadowing too much. And this is what I'm going to texture up in Substance Painter. All right, let's grab all of that and let's export this. Let's just make sure everything is auto smoothed. And then we export. We're going to do this twice. There's a substance folder just for this. We're going to do the materials first, so I'm going to call that IDs. That's the reason why I gave it colors. And then we do it again with no materials. This is the one that actually gets imported and worked on in Substance. Otherwise, Substance will punish me. Okay, I think we're good there. I'm going to activate the Substance Painter. It's basically just going to be black, but we're going to tweak some of this stuff. We're going to use like different materials, like plastics and rubbers. And there's a diamond pattern I want to put on the knob. I'm going to close that. We're going to say File, and I'm going to adjust Substance so I can still see chat. Hi, chat. Okay, File, New, select, I'm in the wrong folder because I'm always in the wrong folder. Beach party, because off stream I'm working on something else. It's actually in Sporty Swim, whip, substance, and I want this one here with no materials. I'm gonna open that up. I'm gonna say okay to that. We're gonna do our baking of our mesh maps. I've already got all of this stuff set and ready to go. Why are you coming out on 2? Are you on 2 or are you just confusing me? I think it's just confusing me because I was showing 2. Let's take a look at what happens. I might have to resave these for substance. We'll see. Let's go take a... Well, here, let's bake our ID map before I move on. So ID maps get baked with different settings, so I have to do that separately. Because I want the output size for the ID map to be higher resolution, and we have to bake it against this camera IDs with the colors. So I'm going to open that up. Also, I like to make this really tight because it gives me better definition. And then I'm going to bake that. All right, now let's go take a look at painting. So it's identified 2 maps, but it's not using the other map. So that's annoying. Is it maybe it's because I had the I'm going to try this one more time. So in my UV editing, I was showing a second grid. And I'm wondering if that is messing with Substance Painter. So we're going to hide that. And where do I do that over here? Here, so I'm going to set that back to 1 to 1. And then we're just going to save this out twice, and we're going to see if that changes things. All right. F6. No materials. F6 with materials. All right, back over into here. Edit project configuration. Actually, let's cancel. Let's just say new. So we're going to get rid of that. There we go. Let's come over here. Nope, it's still seeing a second map. I don't know. Maybe I can just, you know what, we'll just unclick that. I don't know why I've got 2 UV tiles though. Anyhow, we'll just do the rebaking. I'm getting some awful dark colors on the back of that. Do I have any weird... It looks fine. Gotta go. Hey, take care, Charles. Thanks for being here, man. Everybody, check out CS Bond. Doesn't stream much, if at all, but does have a cool Discord you can hang out at. All right, I'm going to rebake the ID map. We're going to throw some colors on here and call it a day. I think I'm just going to make this camera in black. Do that. Set the resolution up. Tweak the cages. Bake that. There we go, nice and sharp. Now I'll come over here to paint, and we'll just texture this up. I'm going to want a black metal, black rubber on some of this stuff. That I'm probably just going to make an emissive in. I'm just going to put a red dot in it here. Let's just do a fill. And let's just make you. Actually, let's find a plastic to put on the base to start with. In metal flake, what do you look like? Nah, we don't like that. Never mind. Plastic cabin screen. Nope. See, this plastic diamond we're going to use over on the knob. Plastic grip. You know what that might do? We're going to tie all that up. That's going to be my base color, I think. And I'll put some other thing in here. But let's, if we say like 8 on that. Has a little bit of texture to it. Looks good. Do I have a glass? I'm just going to throw. I'm probably just going to use a Daz shader on the glass, but let's go get a glass anyhow. Glass clear. Let's see how that goes. I'll put that right on the lens. And then let's get some rubber. Plastic rubber. I'll put those on. This goes on like those. Did that go on there? I think it did. I'm going to shift the color of that just a little bit so I can. Oh, then that applied on those, didn't it? What's going on with this? This is like this didn't UV map right. Dangity dang it. Let's go back to here. Let's come back to here. Let's select. Let's take a look at what we've got going on. Oh, you're missing. Oh, Alt H. You didn't get UV mapped. Dope. All right, I'm going to grab this. I'm going to put you over here. Let's UV map all of that. Let's adjust the textile density. Let's repack everything. That's probably why I had another map. All right, let's export this out. IDs, no IDs. Back over here. This time I'm just going to, you know what? I'm just going to do file new again. It's just faster that way. There's my problem. I had invisible mesh. Echo camera. All right, let's rebake my mesh maps. See, there we go. Now I have just one. And rebake that ID map. That's the one I really... And got to make those tight. I got 17 minutes. I think we're in good shape. So I should be able to get this attached to the swimsuit. I'm going to try to do that with a rigid follow node and see how well that works out. Alright, let's go to painting. What is this? No, plastic rubber. So I want to get my... You know what? This is the plastic rubber. I'm going to use that on the buttons. And that is also applying to the clips. Let's see if we can fix that. So if I make this... There we go. So if we change the tolerance and make it tighter, that's not on there anymore. Let's tweak the scaling on that. Let's say plastic. Let's find that plastic I was using before. If I can remember. I've already forgotten what it was. Plastic. Was that it? No. I think it was plastic grip, wasn't it? Yeah. I'll slide that back there. We'll change the tiling on that to make it finer. It is nice. Okay, I'm going to... There was that plastic diamond. This one right here. I'm going to use that on right here. So we kind of get that cool little diamond pattern going on there. What are you from? Are you plastic grip? You are plastic grip. I don't like you. Never mind. And really getting things done in... Yeah. Yeah, we're going to put that on a rigid follow node on the swimsuit. That should work. And that's the whole reason. I just wanted to use a rigid follow node on the swimsuit. Plastic weave. I got the wrong plastic grip. I'm not liking the plastic grip. I want another plastic. Let's see what we have over here. Plastic, rubber dry, rubber tire, plastic hexagon, plastic matte. You know, maybe we'll do plastic matte and make that black right here. Come over here, switch you, and when we say black, we mean almost black. But that's got a nice weird. That's got a weird little texture to it. I want to. Do I have a roughness? I do have roughness. So I want to tweak the roughness to be a little shinier on that, maybe. And also, I want to scale. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take that roughness grunge off. If I scale this, that's not doing anything. Damages. Are you coming from the dust? No, I think you're coming from... Where are you coming from? There's a pattern in here, and I'm not quite seeing... I'm not quite seeing what's generating. You know what? I might just go with that. Maybe not the damages. The grunge. Grunge is a little strong. I don't know, that might be okay. I think I'm going to go with that. Okay, now let's put you back here. I think that plastic weave was on my buttons. Yeah. All right, let's put that little diamond pattern now on the edge of this. And I think this is good for the clips. think I want to use a different material for here and here, just to give it a little bit of contrast. And that I'm just going to put a glass on. I'm just going to use, and I'm going to swap that out probably for glass and Daz. So that won't, that's just kind of a placeholder. Although can I change the color of that? I like glass to be blue. That's just me. Even though I know I'm going to swap it out for something else. Now let's say metal. And I'm going to put metal on here. Oh, I wanted the diamond over here, didn't I? Let's get the diamond pattern in here first. Plastic diamond grip, plastic hexagon. Let's try plastic hexagon. That is... Actually, when we tile that, it'll probably look better. I don't like that. I mean, it gives a nice contrast. I mean, it's not horrible, but it's just not what. It's just not the vision. The vision was a little diamond pattern, so I think we got a diamond pattern right here. There we go. That's the vision. The vision's the diamond pattern. Tighter pattern than that, though. Kind of like that, and I think maybe a little bit darker. Do I get a color option for this? I do not see a color option for this. We're going to put a filter on here. When it doesn't give me a color option, I'm just going to put a hue, saturation, and lightness. Because I just want that to be a little darker. Like that. There we go. Alright, now I'm going to find a metal. And we're using a black metal. And I'm going to just use that on this little shaft here, and we're going to use it on these two. Oh no, my glass. What happened to my glass? I think I broke my glass. Let's try the glass again. Glass clear. Let's take you, put you right there. Probably okay. I'm going to do a couple of things in here. I'm going to set that height map to normal. We're going to set that roughness map to normal. We're going to set that normal map to normal. And it still looks like it's picking some texture up from underneath. Oh well. Metal. Let's get a metal in here. I might go just a little bit over just to get this into Daz. And we'll do the rigid follow node real fast. Metal. Do I just have a standard dark metal? Chrome plated, clean. Maybe I just use the, I don't want to really metal brushed. Maybe I just go with the, like a metal brushed. Tweak that up a little bit and make it darker. Do I get a color? I do get a color. So there, I'm just going to do that. And I'm going to put it around this little light mount too. So we'll do that, come into the color selector and add that to the metal selection. And also I'm going to use the same metal for the knob shaft. There we go. We're almost done. I'm just going to separate out that little light. So we'll just do a black mask. I'm just going to add a color selector. And I'm just going to go there. And I'm going to worry about setting ambient up in Daz. But I am just going to make that look red for right now. And maybe a dark. That'll probably be good. Alright, there we go. I have colored And I'm going to save this on just a 2K map, I think. So Control Shift. Did I saved this? I have not saved this. Well, it's because I was redoing it so many times. Save as, camera, replace. All right, Control Shift E, and we'll export this out. I'm going to use a template with 5 channels. Base color, normal, height, metallicity, and glossy roughness. So export you out. Open up my directory. Cut these. Oh, you know, that just went out to 4K. I'm going to redo this. I'm going to say that at 2K. It doesn't need to be that big, considering the swimsuit itself is on a 4K texture map. There we go. All right, I'm going to cut you. I'm looking for... All right, you are completely the wrong place. So let's come over here. Let's go to the beach. Let's come over to the Sporty Swim. Let's go over to runtime. Here we go. Textures. Akvo Swim. Actually, let's put the camera in here. Control V. All right, I think we're ready to get this over. I have to put the camera back and re-export it for Daz. And I see something. Oh, Charles banned somebody. Must have been a bot. Evil bot. All right, I'm gonna. I separated this out, but I changed the UVs, so this is. I'm gonna get rid of that. And then I'm going to just duplicate this. There's something in here say duplicate collection. There we go. And I'm going to close that, and then we're just going to reassemble everything. That needs to come back here. This needs to come back into about here. I think I'm about right on that. I need to, no, we're not. We're a little off. There we go. Probably goes like that. This probably just slides straight back. Right about there. Should be good. I will rig this tomorrow. But for right now, we're just going to pop it in. Yo, Bluxfy. How you doing, buddy? Let's save all of this into the camera whip. Been lurking. Thanks for the lurk, buddy. Appreciate it. All right, let's do a quick setup in Daz. Import the camera. There's my import. You are, of course, in the dress folder, because that's what I was working on before stream. Sporty Swim. There we go. Whip folder. Camera. Should be good. There's my imports. There we go. It is a small camera, isn't it? Come over here to surfaces. I'm going to apply my default. Did you come in with it? Oops. Oops. We did not save the materials. There we go. Save the materials. And import again. There we go. I see materials this time. select that, select all of this. I'm going to apply my generic shader, which basically hides a whole bunch of stuff that I don't need to see. Just makes it a lot easier for me to work. Alright, color goes to color. Height, I'm going to put on the bump channel. You don't really need to do that, but I don't know. I like it. I like a bump and a normal map. I'm just funny that way. And you can mock me for it. I don't care. There's the glossy roughness from the roughness. There's the metallicity there. Okay, I'm going to select the camera lens and I'm just going to put on a generic glass like that. And then we're going to select the light. I can't read that. The light emitter. I'm just going to put a generic emissive on that. And I'm going to color that red. And I'm going to just real quick. I'm not done with this. I'm going to rig it, and we'll do that tomorrow on tomorrow night's stream. But for right now, that's going to end up right about in here. Do I want to make that bigger? Did you get flipped weird? No, you're fine. So that's going to be a little posable, so you can kind of angle it around. Right now you can't angle it much because of the way we've got it set up. But I am going to set it up to kind of line up right about there on the strap. So I think I'm going to just set up a rigid follow node real quick here. We'll probably do it again tomorrow, but before we go, it is now 4. Do I want to flip that the other? That's probably... I might actually flip that around the other way. Yeah, I think I'm going to probably do that. I kind of like the camera lining up a little better that way. So my my fabric will pop up a 1.5 millimeters because I fake thickness with displacement maps. Because I'm evil. I'm going to have to re-rig this, but this gives you an idea. So what I'm going to do right now is come to the scene, come over here. We're going to select the top, go to the geometry editor. I have the top selected, so I'm going to just kind of choose a face right about there. You can't see it, but there it is. You can see it right there. And then we're just going to do a geometry assignment. Create a rigid follow node, and we're going to call you node camera, because I always call my nodes nodes, and then I try to name what goes to them after that. Accept that. And then there's a couple things I do to my node before I call it a day with the node. First off, we're going to put it where it needs to be. And which part of Genesis are we on? So chest upper. So I need to attach that to the chest upper. So this node is going to go right there on the chest upper. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to zero it out. Rotation. So I'm going to set all these rotations on the node to 0. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock it down. I've been trying to, because if I don't get these locked down, they like to move around. And it's kind of annoying. If you've ever done a simulation or something and you watched your nodes dance around. So for this, I've gone into edit mode. I'm going to select these. I'm going to set the min and the max to 0. It's kind of like locking them in place, right? So they should not be able to rotate. That's the idea. Also, we're going to set the displays. We're going to hide those. You don't need to be seeing a rigid follow node. I'm going to memorize that. I'm also just going to lock it down for good measure. It might be overkill. And then I'm going to just measure that. memorize that again because I don't know if I have to do it again or not after a lockdown. Alright, should be good. Now I can just attach this to that. So our camera will then get placed onto that node. And I'm going to memorize the camera so if it gets restored, it doesn't move. So memorize selected item. This is going to become a figure, but right now it's just a little prop. I'm not saving this right now because I am going to rig this tomorrow. But we're going to do that. And I'm just going to run a D-Force and we'll do a little render here and we'll call it a day. We'll find somebody to raid. Let's check our, let's do a simulation. Nothing moved. All right. I think we're fine. I'm just going to back this up. And here we'll just do a quick render. And I'm going to look for somebody to raid. And thank you all for being here. And thank you all on the YouTube. I appreciate that. There we go. I'm happy-ish with that camera. A little more than 2 hours. We started the camera on Saturday, actually. I might make some tweaks. I don't know. It looks fine. It kind of looks like a camera. And the swimsuit's a little bit different than things I've done before, so we're good with that. Is that a raid suggestion or is that just a comment? And anyhow, thank you all on the YouTube. I'm going to sign off YouTube, and then on Twitch, we're going to go raid out. And we're totally not going to say anything bad about you people on YouTube, I promise. Anyhow, YouTube, bye. We will catch you later. I will be back tomorrow, next stream, before I go. Next stream is tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Since I'm currently making this more or less from beginning to end as a kind of a full Daz product, we will be picking this up. Tomorrow is maybe rigging the camera and either more textures or getting the morphs under the clothes. That's the next thing on tap. So we'll see how that works out. Anyhow, so long YouTube. If I can find it. There's my OBS. Alright. Hasta la vista, YouTube. Alright, Twitch. Now you can say all that bad stuff about YouTube. Quick, talk shit about art. Oh no, wait, he's here. Don't talk shit about art. That would be bad. Anyhow, let's find somebody to raid and call it a day. I appreciate it. Where is my Twitchy Twitch? There's my Twitchy Twitch. Twitchy Twitch says... Chris Cox Twitch. Let's see who is on, and let's go say howdy. And now I can hear myself, so I'm going to turn that off. And I've done this so many times that actually felt like deja vu all over again. Is anybody out there doing the Humpty Hump? Just wondering. Inquiring minds want to know. Alright, I'm not seeing any of the usual suspects. So let's let me slow up and see. I have somebody that I follow called Show Me Art 22. We'll take a look at that. I'm not sure why. I follow a lot of people. I'm probably not sticking around too long because I think my phone was ringing. I'm coming up. I'm running out of yeah, I'm getting up into 20 viewers. Dark Kissed is an artist. Actually, I think we'll go hang out. We'll go say hi to Dark Kiss. I see them a lot in Andrea's stream. So I think we'll do that. Gaming is also art. That is what they are saying. So it looks like they may be doing some game designing here. So I think that's what we're going to do. So we're going to check out Darkest. So anyhow, thank you all for being here. Like I said, we will be back tomorrow, 7 p.m. Same bat channel, same bat time. I have a Discord. Feel free to join. And let's do this. We got raid calls. Grab the one that's appropriate. If you're not a sub and you can join the raid, feel free to use that. If you are a sub, you can use this. Yeah, take care, Art. And I know Rod was here somewhere. And we saw the awesome sauces, Bucksfi. And we had a few other cool people pop in. And of course, CS Bond, too. Let's start this raid. Dark. How do you... Ist. Did that work? There we go. Take care, y'all. And I have to go over here to get this raid running properly. There it is. I can raid now. Can I raid now? I can raid now. Alrighty. I'm copying my raid call first, though. Raid call has been copied. Alrighty. Take care, y'all. Hasta la vista, baby.